Alright, so let me see who's gonna volunteer. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Which one? Oh, on the left side didn't come today.
Pick someone from that side.
Listen here.
Miami morning today.
That's on the voice.
Spicy.
Goes with the hair, goes with the hair. Don't make me open up the hair.
Spicy.
I am over that 2-week central bank beating I was taking.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You heard Clay.
Man,
Look
look
here,
here.
ours coming in 2 weeks.
I serve you.
Right before Christmas.
When was the last time they were you all?
Couple years. They were supposed to come to us from February and they postponed it. And we done had some shit go down in between there, so I sitting there. I tell you no lie. We
What
done
are you
change
second
the
in charge of the
management
judge? Who in charge?
of what? Compliance.
Compliance.
Maria Dorset. She was with PSI. She's Baco,
Okay.
Baco assistant VP at Baco.
Yeah, I remember. Okay.
Mhm.
Alright, that's how I know that name.
And like yeah, that's one of the reasons why when Miss Marshall McPhee left,
Mm-hmm.
and people assumed that I would want that role.
You
No,
said no.
honey. I will be the best support you need. I don't want it. I don't want head of compliance. Right here, I got you. I can do all the running around and the gathering, all these things. But when you gotta go in front of people to have the conversation, it would be me.
Why not?
No, honey. Because there are things that would have happened before me that I cannot explain, and you look at it and be like, what the hell they was doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I explaining that. I can let the shit go down.
Ms. Archer, let me volunteer. I want us to, you can get 2 and 3. They get 1 and we share 2. Can we?
Okay.
Okay,
You ready?
yes. The answer is,
You thinking someone else spot why?
she's probably still right.
We appreciate that, and we love you, Marissa, go ahead. Take it away.
No, don't.
Did I not go?
I mean, that's, okay, whoever get the answer, I could tell an answer. No, let's just give the answer.
She's speaking from a place
She have a
of
date.
confidence.
She trying to hurry up get.
Oh, she didn't tell me.
Yeah, see? She
Ms.
have to
Archer,
be,
no, listen, I read my ICA paper, I've been up till 2 o'clock, as a matter of fact, I have that for you to check again. I doing that so while I could see you, I could give it to you and you could tell me what to do. I just need some sleep right now, to hear from you.
Okay. Alright, let's go.
So,
Tell me.
that's page 89, starting from paragraph 2.
No, what did she say? What did she say?
The vulnerabilities of trust and providers were summarized in 3 categories, and the ones with a specific, when you talk the, being attacked by international organizations as a source of money laundering, that has to do with threats posed by the jurisdiction as a whole. And that's where, and you said, discuss the reasons for this focus on trust and the vulnerabilities of using this trust.
Mm-hmm.
So, focus was also placed on jurisdictions with limited corporate registration requirements, unrestricted bearer share usage, limited beneficial ownership information requirements, and or tax regulation of trust and company service providers.
So what's the reason for the focus on trust now?
Okay, because money launderers, I have that answer to where I wrote that. Criminals,
Is it
Well,
because
persons
trust still
that-
allows some hiding of
yeah, they
Mhm.
can.
who the settler is, who the ultimate beneficiaries are? Well, the beneficiaries don't contribute, they're not the economic contributors, but the
Right.
settler itself, you could have a named settler and you can have an economic settler.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, off the top of my head, not having read the chapter,
Mhm.
I'm thinking it has something, would have something to do with that, in that the trust vehicle still provides a shroud, some level of anonymity
Mm-hmm.
for the person and the economic behind it.
Right. So the focus for the past few years was on IBCs.
Yeah.
So now they're moving to trust.
We had a situation the other day, looking at an account, and it's regular review period, and we had a named settler, okay, settling the trust for people that were not related to him, and digging into the background, because now these things that were standard accounts for 5 years ago when it was acceptable now it's a new thing, so we're looking at the journey of wealth and all these connections and stuff like that. So then come to find out now, he is the settler in name only. He put down the first $100 or the first $1,000. The economic settler is actually the
One of the beneficiaries?
husband, no, it's the trust was settled for his wife, his children. There was another trust settled for his sister. But he is the economic settler. But when I read through the trust deed, he didn't name himself as beneficiary, protector, or nothing. But there's one line in the trust deed, someplace down on page 70 something. He has the power to revoke the trustees. And then that's when we got into all of that to realize and asking the necessary questions to realize that he is actually the economic settler and not the name settler. And he's nowhere in the account documentation.
So why would someone put all their assets in the trust and not name themselves as a beneficiary?
They don't wanna be named.
They don't wanna be
They don't wanna be named. They don't wanna have any connection. So it looked like his best friend is settling assets, while your best friend settling assets for your wife, what's going on there, we don't know about.
And I think the answer is in page 92 from 1 to 6, where they're trying to divest themselves of legal ownership. 90, 96. They allow settlers who are also beneficiaries to continue to benefit from the assets without legally owning the assets of the same. That's
Yes.
into her scenario just now.
Because when you send it to the wife, then the wife can give it
So
to
who-
the actual
yeah.
settler.
Yeah, or they can name themselves the settlers as well as beneficiaries.
Yes, they could do that too. That's the normal way it's done.
Yeah, there is no requirement for trust to be registered or recorded. There are a number of.
Don't forget now, there is a screen still, but it's a little bit lower in the European Union to have a trust registry too. You were screaming for that too. But then when you look at it from the European offshore jurisdictions, their major product is
It's
trust.
trust, Jersey and Guernsey and all those
Yeah.
places.
And Cayman. So if you want us to do it, they're going to have to do it. So I know there's a lot of pressure was on Cayman about 6 months ago.
That was one of the topics, sorry to digress.
Yeah.
One of the topics that they discussed at the CRCA, a guy did an entire presentation about the processes and politics and stuff like that, and how these bigger jurisdictions like Europe, the EU, have so much rules and regulations for us smaller jurisdictions, but they don't govern their own.
No, because the whole quest of it, when you read the communication coming in from the European Union, is each state, when they do their budget, like how we do our budget, they're looking at, there's a shortfall. So there's a shortfall, where we're gonna get the money from. It comes from the citizenry. They tax them. So they look at, okay, we already have a regime in place for this, this, and this, but there's a loophole somewhere, and they try to find those loopholes. Because as far as they're concerned, all of their funds are offshore, and so they have to tax it. And so they're looking for every avenue to see where they can tax. So this is a very easy question, as long as you understand. I don't want a regurgitation of what's in the book. Read it, understand it. Go and pull this thing up, the typology, read it, digest it, and then you'll understand.
Which typology is that?
Right here. FATF money laundering using trusts and company service providers, 2010. And then, to get an A, of course you have to bring it home to the Bahamas. Because this is a trust class. So how does this impact us? What are the vulnerabilities of using a trust in this jurisdiction? Because we are an offshore jurisdiction. And then she gave you a very good example. Because as far as they're concerned, we won't have a clue.
Again, that have to do
Based
with-
upon how the trust is set up, we wouldn't have the thinking that, guess what, this person is not the settler.
But a local FCP gave them that structure. A local FCP is the behind that structure.
But they may not know trust law.
Yes.
They may know business.
Anyway.
Everybody don't know trust law. People know things from doing things, like say if you were in this business a long time ago, you know there are certain forms you fill out, this is what you ask for. But a lot of people don't know the
Yes.
law behind it.
Because we had to go back and
You
ask
see what I
them
mean?
for the declaration between the economic settler and the named settler, the declaration between the two, they got this trust here.
Right. There's like how people in banking, they do banking all the time, but they don't know the law behind it. And so they'll be saying, oh yeah, they're supposed to be like this, but the law says something totally different. And then the law changes over time. And in each jurisdiction, the law is different. Because we could have taken this course and done it in a different way whereby we compare it with another jurisdiction, then it'll get even more complicated. So this is just an international perspective on trust as a whole. But a part of doing this course is how does this impact us? So remember how I write questions? I write it this way now. When you see an exam, it's written different, but it's on the same thing. Good? All right. So,
I can give it to him. Go ahead, I give it to him.
Good morning.
good morning. Oh, she's writing. Well, start writing, scribbling. And why are you late? Yes?
I'm trying to find my keys.
His dog ate his almost.
He has a dog.
Now I know.
You probably have a cat. And the first word is trust.
Oh, I got that. I was trying to find the second word. Look like love.
Does it look like love?
Yeah, it does.
I was like, what?
Love?
Love.
But it wasn't.
Six there.
Was actually an
Oh, please.
international.
So that's it, it's the first love.
The trust has been used as the centuries.
When did read that for him? Because I don't know why.
Trust
You
has
can't
been
read it.
used over the centuries
Over.
as
Yes.
a vehicle for estate planning. It's trust.
Which class you come to?
I have to see you later.
Bye.
I missed Tuesday.
Oh, yes, plenty. She looking for taxation.
You teach taxation, Ms. Archer?
Mm-hmm.
So what you doing?
I can't get the taxation for dummies manually. You straight with it?
This vehicle is something.
Now being attacked.
What is it? He needs to sit in the front.
No, but it's brand new glasses. Sexy way of sitting in it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, no volunteer now. No more Narissa.
No. She done read, highlight, underline, and write. We just need to on a Friday night, scan them for you before you can send them.
I said I tell you what, that's
So all
all.
of the be on the same page, that's all. Thanks, sir. Mm.
As this.
Yeah.
What's that new word?
Where?
Where? As this.
As this presentation is to senior management,
Keep reading.
prepare 5 slides summarizing your outline of the topic.
I didn't know that. There's asking. Oh yeah, you got this one.
Who finished writing them all? Who's the missing? I can't say as a send bank.
Send bank, any bank, name it
Yeah,
you
that could be ABC Bank.
Okay, what is it? Discuss the reasons for this focus on trust
and the vulnerabilities.
and and
Vulnerabilities.
She missed class.
Oh,
The lady that was there. She missed a lot. Alright, who's volunteering?
not
This one
having
or
read,
one?
not having read, if I could just give it off the top of my head. Not having read. That's my
Do
disclaimer.
you wanna try this one? Rena, you wanna try this one?
you have been appointed.
You can't see.
I can see it. It is hard to read, but I can see it.
You've been appointed as the MLRO of Sin Bank and Trust Limited, and you have been asked to make a presentation on the customer due diligence requirements for trust.
That's the presentation is.
As this presentation is to senior management, prepare 5 slides summarizing your outline of the topic.
Okay, alright, let's go check.
You
this
didn't write
out.
the question now?
I was in the process of writing the question now.
You only write as far as you.
I have to properly.
Was he on the wrong page in the wrong chapter?
No, I'm not good. Is this
Okay,
the right
ready.
side up?
Let's go.
Okay, if we're looking at due diligence for trusts,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Your first slide is gonna be, documentation of the trust itself and what your requirements are for the due diligence on the trust, on the structure. So then you're gonna need your, corporate documents for the trustee. And then you're gonna want your deed. In most cases, you may not get the whole deed, but you need the relevant pages that give you who the settler is, who the beneficiaries are, and maybe something that gives you for the beneficiaries that are not known, the events that would make them, oh, what's the word?
Best.
Vested. And then you would need your due diligence on, if you start to then look at the people, you would need, your corporate documentation on the trustee is gonna also include your passport and proof of residence and all of those things for the trustees themselves, so the people that are the trustees. Including any CRS and FATCA requirements. Then you're gonna need your due diligence on the settler. So then as a part of your putting together this document or whatever, you're gonna need to know the background. So your due diligence on your economic settler, his journey of wealth and all of that, and then his passport and address and stuff for the settler. And then any other controlling persons to that trust, namely the protector or the beneficiaries. If they're not vested, it's not mandatory that we have
No,
their
none gonna
information.
become vested.
Yeah, but if you have it and wanna provide it up front, especially if the vesting period, if this is already an established trust and the vesting period is approaching,
Then
this
you
person
get
is
it.
19 and they get it at 21, then give it to us, because if it's a standard trust, we won't look at that account again for another 5 years.
Right.
5 slides outlining the
Rena's
topic.
supposed to help you, you know.
Who?
Yeah,
Oh.
man.
Yeah, he helping you.
Okay, you can read.
Okay.
You can pick up on this. Why are you looking at the board?
Hmm?
Why are you looking
Oh, I
at
didn't
the
see
board?
what you was writing.
I wrote what she said. Customer due diligence
You want the
requirements for
relationship, if
trust.
there was a name protecting the relationship between the
You want a relationship of all
relationship,
parties.
yeah.
Oh Lord, Ren, did you read this chapter?
I didn't.
Oh God.
I started and,
You started? Nothing else you need for customer due diligence?
I don't know, you got the things for that.
What is that S word?
Where?
The settler, economic settler.
Source of wealth.
Oh,
She
purpose
got
of
a
the trust.
journey. Okay.
Purpose of the trust.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the due diligence, when I say due diligence on the structure, that's where you would also talk about whether it's revocable or irrevocable. and all
I
those
wonder when he's
things.
gonna say that, cause you need that
Yes,
page.
yes.
Remember at the beginning you said you don't get all pages? You
Yeah,
need that page.
the type of trust.
Right. Now you get the corporate documents on the trustee, and sometimes you have to ask for
The DORA.
deed of
Yes.
appointment and retirement of the former trustees, depends.
And if they change trustees,
If
if
they
it's an
change,
existing
yeah.
trust. Okay, now I gotta write that down.
What else? Reno?
There's something else?
No, I want him to make.
Oh.
He wake up yet to say he bought no coffee, and you didn't bring him any.
Bye bye.
What's missing? If anything is missing. I know you participated last time, but I only asked you to help her out.
Yeah. I know.
Anything else?
I feel like there is, but I don't know. I guess.
Think. Nothing comes to mind?
You need some sort of agreement, right?
What? No, we're talking about customer due diligence now. The only document you're getting is your trust deed.
If we use the example I had earlier, if you have a name seller versus an economic seller, then you need the declaration
Mm-hmm.
of trust between the two of those.
That comes all the way up here.
You should, do we need that, in all circumstances where you have any type of nominee company, like if you have just an IVC, and you're using nominees as the shareholders, you need the declaration between the nominee shareholder and the actual shareholder decided they hold these shares in trust for certain persons.
So you have, if there's nominees, you need a declaration. And you also need the certificate of incumbency for the nominee company.
Yeah. When I say corporate documents,
Yeah.
on all companies involved in the structure. If I said it like that, that's okay, you just have to break that down. If I say corporate documentation, all companies in the structure,
No, I know what that means.
okay.
Yeah. Now, if you were in
Right,
part
no.
one, if you were in part one,
Uh-huh.
you would have to
want
write
that.
them down, right?
Okay,
You at this part now, you're supposed to know.
okay.
Reno, anything else? Cause he look, he's spying on the board. I need to close the blind at the back, make it better.
Let's see, 5 slides summarizing your something.
Reno,
Five slides summarizing your outline of the topic.
What the sick? That's it, right?
Like, yeah, whoever give you these glasses, go get your money back.
can't see.
I can see it, it's just that I can't make out the word.
But I can see it from here, how come you can't see it?
Everybody can understand that one handwriting.
My handwriting is beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, thank you.
it's out there. It's vibrant.
I need another volunteer now, voice I have not heard.
What is that after
Where?
certificate of incumbency for nominee company?
Certificate of incumbency for nominee company here. Who's volunteering to do question number 3? Someone,
What's that under settle?
where?
Saucer
After
belt,
FACA?
saucer belt,
okay.
Johnny Bell.
Anything else, Reno, since you're writing?
Maybe we got everything.
You sure? Larissa? What's missing?
The M of the feminine.
Okay, Arissa?
I can't think of nothing off the top of my head. I know I just went to town on this one.
That's my everyday.
I know.
Aren't you gonna?
And
are you
in
gonna
page
show
100,
off?
there's only like
Okay.
a little paragraph. Sorry?
Okay.
Yeah, but then to me, I guess in my head, if I'm thinking if I'm doing the due diligence on
I put all
the
that included.
settler or any
Yeah,
of
but you
those
mentioned the
persons, if any one of
If
them is a
any,
theft,
yeah.
then you have enhanced due diligence.
Mhm.
And if for us as a process, you have to go through for that. So then I do have to then say that enhanced due diligence
If
where
there is a
needed.
PEP, yeah.
Do I have to say PEP?
Mhm.
Because you could have special high risk persons too that are not PEP, but they are what we call like DIPs, where they have so much influence in the little town that they live in, even though they're not a member of government, might as well they had been, because their money is what keeps the area going.
Mhm.
So that's not a
Put them
PEP.
under- yeah. Put them under what, high risk?
Yeah, like special high risk. So then that's why I say, answering my question, I wanna say, and enhance due diligence where required, so I don't have
See
to
who
go
the
through.
audience is senior management.
Right,
So you go in high level.
okay,
That's
so
why
then I
put it
can
like
say,
that.
right, so I
If
can
it-
say
if I
enhance
just
due
said
diligence,
a presentation to staff,
then you have to go into
something different.
details. See,
you bring
these
it a
are
totally different
things
way.
that you.
You see, it's the same
When answering the
information,
question.
but you have to answer the question. The key to that is senior management, so it's at a high level. You don't go into too much detail, because a lot of them don't work in that area.
Yeah.
What about information on investments?
No, what do you mean?
That's between-
Explain.
Explain what you mean.
Like if the trust had any investment before it actually started, or if you have to put the stuff to be invested, you have to invest any of those stuff that is in the trust.
No, you don't do that with customer due diligence. No, we're just talking about the client and the business. Now, if they were investing in new, in new stocks and bonds from emerging markets that are high risk or risky, then you could mention it. I hear whispering. What are they talking about now?
Are we missing a couple of names here?
No, she just added in the depth
That was the
and
ones.
enhanced due diligence.
Diligence right up there.
No,
Enhance.
enhance. In the chapter, there's a section on depths.
Yes.
So that can go into
And all of
specific.
that, this one came from this here?
Yes, I
This
can.
whole section, eh?
Page on page 100?
That's it
Yeah.
there?
Don't forget, that's all the knowledge from the ones before. I can't be repeating the same thing over and over again. You already did one. You already
Page
did-
98 too, go to the bottom of
Yeah,
page 98
that's
as
it.
well, Roy, and it kind of goes a little bit more into details. But that's
And you
only
know
for
what
an
trust,
account.
you know what parties of a trust?
It
So you
goes to
can
like,
put
that's
it
just
all
for any
together.
KYC for anybody. And then the
Right,
building on
this-
page 100 goes to
Look,
trust.
this one talking about the STRs on page 98.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry then.
Yeah. Just saying this
I
little
will.
thing, yeah?
Mhm. What I'm saying is, go back to the very first one. You know this from there. You have to pull it all together now. Don't forget, some people will say, oh, I did that class, finish with that one. But this is a continuation, so it's all,
Also,
you
we
have to
must
bring
go
it.
and go back to book one, okay.
You should remember that by now.
Alright.
Who's say,
I remember I had for lunch yesterday.
Oh, jeez. Struggle is real. It's not. I just had the question in my head.
Miss Archer,
Yes.
when you rewrite these questions for the exam, please do not put it in a way that could cause persons to read the
Just
question
tell her.
and go, what? What? And you're not sure what angle
Why?
they come from? Like this? You see, I can answer that the way you word that. Don't try get too fancy and switch it up so much that you lose me in the translation.
Yeah, she's speaking Latin or something.
What?
I just told you the same thing
If
last
she wanna
class.
change her word, change 5 to 4.
Not the whole question. Yeah, do us that solid, Ms. Archer. Please.
Why? I want you to think.
Yeah, but then we in class, we answer the question so you know we know it.
You only got
So
3
the
hours?
exam is only a formality.
You have 3 hours.
You only have 3 hours, that's it.
Yeah, but if I spend the first hour trying to
That's
decipher the
what I'm
question,
saying. That's only 3 hours.
you just need the time.
Can't even leave early upon our exam.
Like 10 minutes, we keep reading the same question, thinking that it could
Why
change.
is that?
Thinking it could change degree.
Exactly, JJ. Alright, so let's go.
my whistle. In the back? Okay. We have plenty papers. There we go. I guess I got this now, right? Look here, her hand come up quicker when she see it was a marker she won. It's your turn.
I can take dictation, okay?
No, you going up there. Let's go.
Hold on.
You have identified that there may be something suspicious about the transactions from the trust, and you wish to discuss the legal requirements for filing an SDR and tipping off with your supervisor.
Tipping.
Yes, it's tipping. You have conducted research and you have been asked to set out your approach to address these matters.
Why are we having this conversation with the supervisor? Why are we having this conversation with them, Laura?
And calling Gene.
One chin. But it depends on each organization's structure. You don't have to go to your supervisor. You can go straight. But even if you wanted to start it by saying in my organization, the reporting is done directly to the MLRO,
You can do it.
we could do that.
Okay.
But you still have to answer the question.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Don't take long writing this question, you can write it afterwards. No, you decide in the discussion. Honeymoon, I talk now, but she's stressed out.
Approach to what?
To address.
To address these matters. Why gets paper moving?
That's the office doors.
It will go,
Yeah, I know.
Ford will help you.
Come on, boy.
Oh,
What?
then I try to see who's for it.
He trying to say it was Ford. See it right there?
Yeah, and I know.
Forward, you know, for this. Come forward, who's forward, you? Yay, help.
You inside? Yeah.
That's where she's supposed to go.
From the start.
Start from page 97.
No, I go from page 93.
Mhm.
Page 93 speaks to tipping off.
I was like off the start from 97.
You gotta understand what you've been
Who read this
asked.
chapter?
So we have two things.
I didn't.
What's wrong with these two? You see how y'all always get
She's trying to
reprimanded?
keep herself awake, man. Give the other break. She's trying to keep herself awake.
No, announcement please.
We're
No.
doing this Thursday
We're doing this
and this
Thursday.
Saturday.
Where we start?
I thought this Thursday.
Page 93, number
No.
2, section 14, tipping off.
So we covered this Thursday.
Yeah, you're coming this Thursday.
You wanna discuss the legal requirements of filing an
Just send that
SDR
out in
and
the
So you
tipping
have to
off.
state,
You have a group?
according to
I don't know
Poca
that.
section
I don't know that.
14.
I don't know
You have a
that.
group?
I don't know.
This is like to confirm that.
Say what happened?
What group you got? What's the
According to
definition in this
Poca
one?
section 14, the legal requirements for tipping off.
I didn't have to write.
Fence.
You don't gotta write it like that, but like,
Show
So let's just go from
POCA section
tipping
14.
off.
Mhm.
Poker defines tipping
You
off.
can say POCA section
defines
14 speaks to tipping off,
That's-
and POCA section 13, well, the 13 is MLRO.
So,
What's the piece that speaks to if you have any knowledge of, or if you know, suspect or have knowledge of, that line.
am I putting part two?
Section 14.
Legal requirements with the with filing the SDR reporting. First of all, you have to, there's a line in the act that speaks to, if you suspect, have knowledge, what it is, know knowledge or suspect, have knowledge, or reasonable reasons
All
to
of that have
have,
to be
yeah, there's a sentence, there's a phrase that the act repeats over and over and over. Okay, so that, you just have that phrase. And then 2, you speak to section 14 that speaks about tipping off and not discussing the matter with persons outside of, whether it's your chain of command or your MLRO. Okay, so then that's your legal requirement.
Or you mean like the people that are actually in the trust, or you're not allowed to discuss it with them?
No, no,
So
that's
that's
tipping
not
off.
tipping off. Okay, so that's this here?
That's your legal requirement.
Okay.
Should have finished it for you.
Okay, so I can go sit down?
You know what it is?
Yes, I know.
What it is?
What, POCA or tipping off?
No, the answer to the question.
She's saying that you have to, you have
Yes, yeah.
to state the legal requirements according to POCA section 14. She said there is a portion, an offense is committed if one knows or suspects that any disclosure under part 2 of POCA has been made, or any action that has been taken in the FIU in relation to anything under part 2 of POCA, and one makes a disclosure to another person which is likely to prejudice on any investigation which might be conducted following the disclosure being made.
Where you reading from?
93.
But that's only tipping off though. We're waiting, no say nothing else. So you finished?
Go to page 97.
Why you yelling up?
Oh, sorry.
She just
Oh,
said.
there you go.
Did you get one part of the question?
Does she have somewhere to go?
Did you see what I'm saying? You missed half the question.
So that's just the legal requirements, okay? Then you have to now,
Talk about the
You have
requirements to
conducted
file
your-
the S for the SDR.
yeah. So then filing the SDR,
So-
you need the name and the account holder and the
She began
transaction
to say
that
when
raised your
you-
suspicion.
Exactly.
The particular transaction that raised your suspicion, and then you have to talk about the nature of the transactions over the account itself.
Okay, so this is at the bottom here, which says section 25 of FTRA makes it mandatory for a financial institution to report suspicious transactions where that a person, that portion there,
See there, where the financial knows, suspects, or has reasonable grounds to suspect, that's the line I was looking for.
Give it a page.
That's page 97.
97
That's what you said.
to the bottom.
And that's what I was reading.
It's a little more down.
Huh?
That's where you was going to start.
That's where you need to start, yeah, you have to start there.
Wow.
You see? Because you see what I put here? I say something suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to clarify this first.
Okay.
That's probably missing a point there.
Yes. And I started talking to you.
So I have to write it on the board?
No,
Okay, good.
as long as you know. Because
Okay.
when you see it again and you miss it out, then you know why. Yes, you have to clarify something suspicious, and then you need to tell me what are the legal requirements to file an STR. Why do you have to file it? And there is a legal obligation to do so. Okay, you just highlighting, and then when you come to answer the question, you will be giving me all kind of things, like it trap you in your head.
I don't get it wrong though.
Would you need height for like tipping off, is more than tipping off?
I know,
For me,
I,
if I answer the question, cause I heard you say you can make it relative, like what you do every day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She could do it from trust, you could do it from commercial.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
ours is,
Hers will be for money transfer.
well, mine would take, be comprised of that too.
Sure.
Um,
You need something?
but it's just more, it could be a person who is supposed to be a student and all that, they'll say they're off in college and they deposit in form $5,000 a week. So that'll raise a red flag. But for someone else, or commingling, where we have a person who have a personal account conducting business transactions, so for us, it's still the same form.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the same
But what I want you
form.
to do is apply your trust knowledge now. Using a trust. What would be suspicious?
The distributions,
Yeah.
how the trust distributes the monies,
Mm-hmm.
who it's going to, especially if it seems unrelated to the settler or any of the beneficiaries and the reasons behind this
Right.
money.
But if you can't come up with one, you could use one from your work experience. But I want you to try and use trust, based on your trust knowledge, what you've learned so far, even if it's just by book, how you think money laundering can arise.
Okay, so also in answering this question, do we have to go back to what would have been expected or what was expressed, like to make a comparison of what is suspicious versus what should have possibly happened? Based on what the trust document or deed would have said, was says, or is already expected? That we already made the
No, I'm only
comparison
asking you,
for the legal part,
legal, that's it.
okay.
There's a part two, set out your approach.
Yeah.
That's why.
So
I
the
asked
legal
that.
part of it is, we do the legal part in terms
And then
of
tell me your
clarifying
approach.
what's suspicious,
So
legal
you would say
obligation
go
to
to
file the SDR
supervisor,
and the
this and that.
TPR.
She'll have a different approach.
Yeah, because for me, the only way I'm not, like, okay, remember yours is different for me.
Mm-hmm.
My branch manager,
You have a chain of command.
Yeah,
the
We
chain
were
of
not
command.
talking about that before.
my branch manager would be who is supposed to go through first. In the event that if I go over his head, that means somehow, some way he knows. So that's why I should go over his head. But if I don't feel that he has anything to do with it, the suspicious
him.
thing, then
Yeah.
I'm supposed to
Mhm.
go through him. And then he goes to his superior.
Okay. So, come on, Ms. Arthur, we set out the approach.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your approach to address these matters?
Filing an STR, completing an STR form, or in coordination with whomever you're reporting to. Because typically the person that's making the complaint
Uh-huh.
is not the one that actually completes the form, but it's saying that you have already conducted your research. So you come in now with what you are from your KYC, what you expect the activities for the trust to be involved in versus the actual activities that they are
Sure.
doing.
It's a-
And
right.
comparing.
State the we need to
No,
state
you
it.
use, yeah, it's not a comparison, you're stating the reasons why your suspicion.
Because the
Arose.
transactions currently occurring are
Right.
outside of the
So
normal
that's your
scope or the
approach.
stated
So
purpose
now
of
that
the
you know what the
trustee.
law says, what is your approach?
Okay,
Because you have legal obligations. You can't tip off the client. You know that you have to file if it is suspicious. So in answering this, the first thing is you say, what is tipping off? You know you can't do that. The next thing is, you have to know what really is suspicion. And then based on that, to file the SDR, the MLRO will do that. In order to do that, I'm asking you, what is your approach to address this matter? So what are you going to take? What information are you going to take to the MLRO or your supervisor for them to determine that an SDR has to be filed based on your suspicion?
You could also include if you have done any due diligence in your research on the companies or individuals receiving this money, if there's any negative media or stuff like that.
Mhm.
So you could say, well, I've run it through WorldCheck, I've checked Google searches and different things like that, run Nexus, that's all the various tools.
So
I'll say
in this one,
tools.
you're taking the whole chapter, cause go to the pages before when they talk about the other offenses. So it's the customer due diligence, right? Then you have to look at
Stop
all
the
of
recipient
these.
and- Which number two?
Yeah. Is it concealing, arranging, acquiring, use, possession? All of that. So you're not gonna regurgitate all of this, you just select one. Based upon what I see, I think it's a suspicion of whatever one you wanna choose.
Oh,
And then I gave you examples where SDRs were filed, based again on the same typology I'm asking you to read. So you don't have to actually use commercial if you don't want to, because I've given you, go back. I've given you a list of suspicion, one more. That's the top, go back. And it starts here, these are all suspicion. You see, everything is right in the chapter. The suspicion being raised on one of these. These new glasses there, that's why you cannot see. And this where STRs were filed. That's why I say you must read this,
Okay.
okay? And these are the ones here. So you don't have to go pointing your head as to what suspicion is, or what you will file it on. It's in the book. Alright? Now one more sleep, one got child run, one get date. What you got? So we good?
You got a date, no what?
So this is a pure legal one. So if I put it again, I don't have to use these two.
So Ms. Armstrong,
what are you what are your alternatives?
There's
What
failure-
alternatives?
Failure to disclose.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Thank you.
It's in there. It's in the chapter.
so Ms.
We do that
Armstrong,
if we
on these
decipher.
questions that you gave us, and this first one is mandatory.
Heard?
You said the first one was a mandatory question, the other ones are just options.
I know you.
She actually waiting on this.
Exactly.
I don't blame her though.
Well, then I'm in the bed. Let's have a conversation now.
I don't blame her.
It's too early to ask that question.
I thought that's what you said.
What?
Holly.
No, you asking if these two are. I'm saying, I don't know.
Oh, okay, but this one was,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Worded in a different way.
okay.
Alright? So please read before you come for the next chapter.
Yeah, I don't know, God, get ashamed.
I know, right? I can't get shit like that.
No, Marissa got set our notes.
So this chapter, you can't just glance over it, you have to read it.
Yeah, that's true.
Read it, so you can know the SDRs.
Put it in the trust term.
Right. Put it in the trust terms, and you have to know the law. Alright? Yes, it is long. But you must read it.
Looking at.
No, but the law is longer. So this
Yeah,
chapter
the law
kind
is
of
longer,
break
yeah.
down in layman's terms.
Not this weekend. Yeah,
So guys, on Thursday,
yeah, class is on Thursday. And then Friday is the review.
Friday?
I mean, Saturday is the review.
And then so now, do we have, like, for those who wish to take it Thursday morning?
The 15th.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that should be all right, that Thursday on.
Yeah, well, some people are coming in the morning, so we come in the morning. So this is Paul,
Maybe
You.
I could do it in the
what's his name? Gladstone, yeah, I think Gladstone said he doing it in the morning.
That may be better for me. I've been functioning at night.
After what you're going to be there.
No, I don't know. I want to, my time, in the, join my people, I don't need to go down.
And you have the questions from last class already. Well, this half was here, that half was in here. We good?
Are we?
Huh?
Everyone-
Say just that you see, no?